Everyone thinks Thomas Edison invented the light bulb, but at least 20 inventors beat him to it. One British physicist publicly demonstrated a working bulb before Edison's big moment, yet Edison's name became legendary, while the others faded into obscurity. The wildest part? Edison's team got so desperate during their experiments that they actually tested hair from their coworkers' beards. I'm not kidding. This is the bizarre, competitive, absolutely ruthless story of how the first practical light bulb was really born, and why being first doesn't always matter. This is the story of two brilliant rivals separated by an ocean, racing to turn a cool laboratory trick into something that could actually light up your living room. And spoiler alert, it all came down to 15 hours of fragile orange glow that changed absolutely everything. Trust me, this gets good. Let's get something straight right off the bat. By 1878, the incandescent light bulb already existed. The first true incandescent demonstration happened way back in the 1830s and 40s. Other inventors kept improving the design for decades. But here's the catch. Every single one of these bulbs was basically a gorgeous, expensive disaster waiting to happen. They'd burn out in minutes, needed massive batteries, and cost a fortune. They were perfect for impressing people at fancy science demonstrations, but totally useless in real life. So it's 1878, and if you're wealthy enough to live in a modern city, you're getting by with gaslight. You know, that flickering, kinda dangerous, definitely expensive gaslight. Everyone else, they're stuck with candles, oil lamps, and just going to bed when it gets dark. But something's brewing across America and Europe, a race to make electric light actually work for regular people, not just nerdy scientists in labs. Enter our two main characters, Thomas Edison and Joseph Swan. Swan was the older, more established guy, a respected British physicist who'd been obsessing over electric light since the 1860s. Very methodical, very patient, very respectable. By early 1879, he'd refined his design enough to feel pretty confident about it. So on February 3rd, he did something bold. He publicly demonstrated his lamp in front of the Newcastle Chemical Society. And guess what? It actually worked. If you think patent wars are dramatic now, wait till you hear what happened next. Hit subscribe, because this rivalry gets absolutely wild. Meanwhile, across the ocean, 31-year-old Thomas Edison is reading these reports and probably having a minor panic attack. He'd only started seriously working on electric light in late 1878. Swan just went public first and basically announced to the world that he'd cracked it. You can almost feel Edison's competitive streak kicking into overdrive, right? But Edison had a secret weapon that Swan didn't, an invention factory. His Menlo Park laboratory wasn't some lonely genius tinkering away in a dark basement. This was one of the world's first industrial research labs, packed with skilled researchers, machinists, and glassblowers working literally around the clock. Edison basically turned inventing into a team sport, and honey, he was playing to win. Still, he had other American rivals breathing down his neck too. Critics were openly mocking him, calling his whole quest a ridiculous waste of time and money. But Edison? He made this absolutely insane promise. He'd make electric light so cheap that only rich people would bother burning candles. I mean, the confidence, the audacity. And then he actually had to back it up. So began the experiments. Hundreds and hundreds of documented attempts. Maybe thousands. Honestly, they kind of lost count. Picture a glass-blowing shed, running non-stop. Teams testing literally every material they could think of as a filament. That's the thin fiber inside the bulb that glows when electricity runs through it. The trick wasn't making something glow. That part was easy. The trick was making it glow for hours without burning out, inside a near-perfect vacuum, at a price normal people could actually afford. They tried carbonized cotton thread. Nope. Wood splints. Failed. Paper. Total disaster. They tested thousands of plant species from all over the world. Edison literally sent people on global expeditions to South America, Jamaica, Ceylon, Burma, all hunting for the perfect fiber. His assistant kept meticulous notes of every single failure, and those notebooks still exist today. They're like a monument to stubborn determination. And yes, according to laboratory folklore, they really did test hair from their colleagues' beards. Knowing how obsessive Edison was, I'm gonna say that probably happened. Month after month, his team worked through the night. And here's the ironic part. Their laboratory was lit by gas lights, the very thing they were trying to make obsolete. Talk about motivation, right? Could you handle hundreds of failures without giving up? Drop a comment if you've got that kind of persistence. Meanwhile, Swan kept refining his own design across the Atlantic. This race was neck and neck. Then October 1879 rolled around. After 13 brutal months of relentless testing, Edison's team prepared yet another experiment. Carbonized cotton thread again. They'd tried it before, but this time something felt different. The vacuum was better. The carbonization process was more refined. They connected the bulb to the electrical current, and a soft orange glow filled the laboratory. And then, they waited. 1 hour passed. The filament held strong. 5 hours. Still glowing. 10 hours. The team probably didn't even want to breathe too hard and jinx it. Nearly 15 hours later, the filament finally gave out. But those precious hours proved everything they needed to know. This wasn't just another cool laboratory trick. This was actually viable. This could work in real homes, on real streets, in the real world. The breakthrough didn't stop there, though. Continuing their worldwide material hunt, Edison's team discovered in 1880 that carbonized bamboo could last up to 1,200 hours. That was the magic number that made commercial production actually feasible. A bulb that could burn for weeks instead of minutes. Game changer. Edison filed his crucial patent on November 4, 1879, and it was granted on January 27, 1880. He'd done it. But here's where it gets really fascinating. Joseph Swan had done it too. Both men, working independently on opposite sides of the ocean, arrived at nearly identical solutions within months of each other. It's like the universe was ready for this invention to happen, and it didn't really care who got there first. But the world? Oh, the world definitely cared about who got the credit. Here's the thing though, winning the invention race was just round one. Now came the real fight, the business war. Joseph Swan held rock-solid patents in the UK, and British courts sided with him. Edison could have waged expensive legal battles for years. Instead, he did something pretty shrewd. In 1883, he merged with Swan, forming a company called Edison. If you can't beat them, join them, right? Or more accurately, make them your business partner and split the profits. The man he'd been racing against for years? 3 years later, they're literally working together. I mean, you have to appreciate the pragmatism. In America, though, Edison became absolutely ruthless. He sued competitors for patent infringement with the aggression of a modern tech giant going after startups. The legal battles raged for years, ultimately getting resolved not in courtrooms, but in boardrooms, through mergers, cross-licensing deals, and the creation of General Electric in 1892. What started as a scientific quest had become full-on corporate conquest. Edison understood something crucial that a lot of inventors miss. Invention without market control is just an expensive hobby. You can be first, you can be brilliant, but if you can't control how it gets made and sold, someone else is going to profit from your genius. And Edison was not about to let that happen. Think about that first practical bulb for a moment. Nearly 15 hours of orange glow from a delicate carbonized thread inside a hand-blown glass bulb with an imperfect vacuum. By today's standards, it's incredibly crude. Modern LED bulbs last 25,000 hours, use a fraction of the energy, and are small enough to fit in your pocket. Yet that fragile orange glow conquered something humanity had struggled with since we first learned to fear the dark. Darkness itself. What if Edison and Swan could see a modern city from space at night? Billions of lights turning our entire planet into this glowing jewel visible from orbit. Could they have possibly imagined that their parallel breakthroughs would lead to this? I don't think so. They were just trying to make a bulb that didn't burn out after 10 minutes. Here's what gets me about this whole story. Edison didn't invent the light bulb, he made it matter. He turned a laboratory curiosity into something that fundamentally changed how every human being experiences nighttime. Sometimes, the genius isn't about being first. It's about being stubborn enough to make it actually work when everyone else has given up and gone home. And honestly, that's kind of inspiring. So here's my challenge for you. Which matters more in innovation, being first, or being relentless enough to make it work? Because 20 inventors came before Edison, but only one name stuck in history. Was that genius, luck, or just better business? Drop your take in the comments. I genuinely want to know if you think Edison deserves the credit or if we've been celebrating the wrong person this whole time. And if stories like this, the messy, competitive, surprisingly human reality behind world-changing inventions, are your thing, go ahead and subscribe. Because the first versions of everything were built by people who failed hundreds of times and kept going anyway. That's the real lesson here.